We will be talking thereafter with diseases of the breast, and then finally we will be talking parathyroid, adrenal, multiple endocrine neoplasia. So we will be talking in endocrine surgery topics in this way, and for the next of the few classes, we will be going in this sequence. The most important topics definitely which give majority of MBBS questions, that includes long question, short notes, long case, short case, is from these two chapters. From an MCQ point of view, remember that the MCQ world is gradually changing very fast, and from something called as single best answers, that means you are given 1, 2, 3, 4, you are going to take one, that is called as an SBA format. We will be discussing graduating into something called extended multiple choice questions called as EMQ, which will be a single theme topic, and after a problem is given, you will have 4 questions on this topic. They can have various permutation and combination. So this is the layout. I will again repeat. In surgery, we will start with something called endocrine surgery, and thereafter we'll proceed to other topics like GI, then super specialty, general surgery. So we will start with thyroid, then breast, thereafter parathyroid, adrenal, multiple endocrine neoplasia. So this is the layout of the class. Every topic, please take your notes extremely well. Every topic, as I have said, I will discuss in these 4 formats, but with each and every line, there will be MCQs, EMQs, and definitely the thing that I love the most to discuss are images and videos to be shown, because your NEET in future, whatever name you give to the NEET exams, is going to incorporate these things either in the form of a single best answer or in the form of a extended multiple choice. Finally, we will be using books for reference, that will be Bailey Love 27th edition, that means the edition that is being currently in practice. I will be referring to a book that is very less available now because it has been launched in the month of March in India. Is the 21st edition of Saviston. So I will be referring to these 2 books as my reference. Remember that my reference is these 2 books only, Bailey Love and Saviston 21st, which are the standard books that you are required to read in surgery. Beyond this, there will be other things to talk about, but these will be the main reference that I will always go by. Next, when we talk about this part, please remember I will start with thyroid, then breast, parathyroid, adrenal, and multiple endocrine neoplasia. So please keep your notes exactly arranged like this. I will like to be very slow and meticulous in each of the every topic. Now, to start with, as I have said, this is the first class on thyroid, and one among the most important topics, not only in surgery, but also in ENT as well. For your MCQ point of view, this stands out to be one among the most important topics in the MCQ world. So please understand and keep your notes extremely well and organized. So let us start with a class on, let us start gradually with a class on surgery. Now, so whenever we talk about the diseases of the thyroid, the main thing that I always get to hear from my students is, sir, we have read the anatomy little bit, we have forgotten the anatomy. We have read in physiology and we have forgotten the physiology. In pathology, someone said something, then we have also forgotten what are those tumors, etc. So let us start. My job is to talk about your basics. Remember, particularly on an MCQ font. Number two, basics that you require for Viva. And then we will gradually go on to basics, in which please remember your full notes in the full tenure. I will gradually escalate into something called must know. These are the topics everyone has to know to pass an examination. Should know topics are important for MCQ purpose, and all of you are good students. And nice to know are for the thing that I teach my postgraduates, which are again for extremely tough MCQs that may be given. But as I have said, you will find your notes in this way from basics to advanced, and you will get to see your notes gradually getting escalated in this direction. So you will, as I've said, my books of reference will include these two. Some chapters, say for example, thyroid, I will refer to a book called as Swartz, 11th edition, and few notes or topics, I will go to a book called as the Washington Manual. But again, as I have said, the majority of the data, the statistics, particularly for an MCQ purpose, whatever these two books will be saying, for me, they are sacrosanct. They are the two most important topics. So let us start with the first topic for the day, which is thyroid. Now, as I have said, we will start with our basics slowly. And the first topic is to know about little bit an introduction about something called as the surgical anatomy. Now the topic, now remember that you have been taught in anatomy about thyroid in many layers. If you have forgotten, no problems. I'm very happy that you have forgotten. No issues. Okay, my job is to make you understand from very, very basic things. Now, to start with, when I talk about the thyroid surgical anatomy, first Viva question. The word thyroid means the word shield. That means if you have seen a warrior, okay, a warrior used to hold one spear in his hand and a shield in his hand. So remember that the thyroid is the shield which is guarding which structure? It is guarding the trachea. So the thyroid acts as a shield which guards the trachea. So this is a Viva question. Okay. Now, if it guards the trachea, more or less everyone knows the structure of the thyroid contains two lobes. Okay, we know that, sir. Sorry. So the structure of the thyroid contains two lobes, and it is joined by the isthmus, or technically meaning the word bridge. A small Viva question. The word isthmus meaning the word bridge. Now, so when we talk about the two lobes, a little bit of MCQ points also to remember in this is the first and the foremost things are the thyroid. Remember, is the thyroid, remember, is an endocrine gland like other endocrine glands in the human body. And when you talk about this endocrine gland, remember that on a functional basis, we will be talking on functions very much, is responsible for secretion of T3 and T4. But these are the major hormones. Other hormones in concern can be monoiodotyrosine, diiodotyrosine, which are also released by the thyroid in lesser amounts. So we'll not talk about these parts today because we'll have detailed classes on functions of the thyroid whenever we talk about the thyroid diseases in later on. Now, this is something that we knew, sir. So let us talk about, sir, what is the anatomy story that you are going to tell us? As I have said, the thyroid contains two lobes. Points to remember, the lobes are pyramidal in shape. Okay, number one. Number two is that on an average, the weight of the thyroid is very small, is on an average about 10 grams. That means about 5 grams of on each side of the lobe to talk about. And whenever we talk about the thyroid, some people say that no, in adults it can range from 10 to 20 grams is usually an MCQ point that is asked for an exam. Okay. Now, if this is something that we require to know, as I have said in numerical, multiply this by 10 times. This is my way of remembering. The daily iodine requirement is between 100 to 200 microgram. Remember that the daily iodine requirement of an adult is an MCQ is 100 to 200 microgram. Please remember that. Okay. Now, so these are the two things.
10 grams to 20 grams,
yes.
sir, each lobe, sir.
No, sir. The total weight of the thyroid is 10 to 20 grams. Okay. Some books says is up to 25 grams, but on an average, this is 10 grams to 20 grams. Depends upon various books, but this is the, for an MCQ world, if you have marked 20, I will be happy. Right. Now, let us talk again with the come back to the anatomy. When you come back to the anatomy, again, so points to remember in this anatomy part were the two lobes and the isthmus. In some cases, the isthmus contains another lobe called as a pyramidal lobe. MCQ point. What is the pyramidal lobe a remnant of? What is the pyramidal lobe a remnant of? Sir, pyramidal lobe represents the primitive thyroglossal tract. Pyramidal lobe is remnant of thyroglossal tract. So the pyramidal lobe is remnant of thyroglossal tract and is seen in 50% of patients. Please remember this data because this is a very common MCQ. Please remember that. Okay. Now let us again come back, and as I have completed into this part, the other questions, as you are all good students, is name and disease where pyramidal lobe has a important practical significance of removal. That means name a disease condition where the pyramidal lobe removal is mandatory. In which disease is pyramidal lobe removal along with the thyroid mandatory? That means an operation called as total thyroidectomy. When is a pyramidal lobe removal important? Two conditions. One is something called papillary cancer thyroid. Papillary cancer thyroid. Point number two is Graves' disease. So this is again an MCQ. In which condition must the pyramidal lobe be removed along with the other parts of the thyroid? What is that answer? Sir, papillary cancer and Graves' disease. Right? Okay. So have I made you understand up till this point? Hello, have I made you understand up till this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Right. Now let us come to little bit of ENT things which you are asked and some amount of MCQs. As I have said, what is the thyroid shielding into? What is the structure that the thyroid is shielding? What is this?
Trachea.
Is the
Trachea.
trachea. Very good. So now tell me, if the thyroid is shielding the trachea, very good. Now, so the isthmus is the bridge. I know that isthmus is the bridge. Now, what is the extent of the thyroid is an MCQ thing that has come twice in exams. Answer is, sir, it extends from the level of cervical vertebrae number 5 to thoracic vertebrae number 1. So C5, C6, C7 and T1. There is nothing called C8, please remember. So C5, C6, C7 and T1 is the extent of the thyroid. MCQ point, please. Okay. Now, so if that is so, then what is the important thing? The important thing to remember is the isthmus, however, lies at the level of the second to the third tracheal ring. So now please see the picture that I'm trying to draw, and then you will remember this part. So I will take another second, please. Yes. So this part is the tracheal ring 1. This part is the tracheal ring 2. This part is the tracheal ring 3. And this part is the tracheal ring 4. So the MCQ that comes is, what is the isthmus overlying into? Please remember, the isthmus overlies the tracheal ring 2 and the tracheal ring 3. This is the thoracic vertebrae. So what I should be mentioning this part as a tracheal ring 2, tracheal ring 3. Have I made you understand up till this point? Have
Yes,
I
sir.
made you understand up till this point? This is an
Sir,
MCQ.
सर ट्रेकियल रिंग अच्छा आपने लिखिয়েছেন ट्रेकियल रिंग अच्छा হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝে গেছি
Is it understandable now?
यस सर थैंक यू सर
Okay, right. So I will, the main problem of confusion is that this thing, na?
यस सर
Okay, good. If this is so, now you are all very good students. Tell me, where is a tracheostomy done? MCQ from ENT and Viva question in ENT. Where is a tracheostomy done? What is tracheostomy? Sir, tracheostomy is to make a hole in the trachea so that you can put a pipe in the trachea. Oxygen goes to the bronchus. Now, where is a tracheostomy done? Sir, tracheostomy is usually done at the tracheal rings 3 or tracheal rings 4. Where is it never done? It is never done at tracheal ring 1. Where is it usually done? Tracheostomy is done at the site of tracheal ring 3 and tracheal ring 4. Right? That means to do a tracheostomy, what is the structure that the surgeon has to cut? What is the structure that the surgeon has to cut to make a hole in the trachea? Very good. So he has to cut the isthmus of the thyroid.
So can you please repeat, like the usually tracheostomy is done in the level?
Tracheostomy is done in between the tracheal rings 3 and tracheal rings 4.
Answer 2 and 3, what did you write?
And what happens is, if you see the isthmus of the thyroid, At which level does the isthmus of the thyroid lie? Sir, isthmus of the thyroid overlies which tracheal rings?
2 and
Tracheal
3.
rings 2 and 3. So to make a hole in this region, the question is, what structure of the thyroid is divided to do a tracheostomy? Viva question, MCQ. Which structure of the thyroid gland is divided to do a tracheostomy? What should be your answer? What is the structure that I have shaded that is divided, that is cut
Isthmus.
to enter the
Yes.
trachea? Isthmus. Very good. And if you cut the isthmus, what are the tracheal rings that come into your vision? Tracheal ring 2, 3, and 4, technically. Sometimes if you increase it little larger, 2, 3, and 4. What is the ideal site of doing a tracheostomy? So the ideal site is tracheal ring 3 and tracheal ring 4.
Sir,
Okay.
we can just retract the isthmus and expose
Very
the
good.
tracheal ring 3.
Excellent, sir. Very good. Very well said. Very, very
That's
well
right.
said. Majority of the procedures that are done now, particularly remember in an elective tracheostomy, that means it is a planned operation. Rather than cutting the isthmus, which produces bleeding, we do not cut the isthmus. Remember, we retract the isthmus and do the tracheostomy. Sir, a very good point said. But remember, at an undergraduate level, to remove all confusions, do not have any other, because what we do in an emergency is not done in an elective. Let us not have these confusions. So let us do only one thing. For an emergency tracheostomy, remember, it is good always to cut the isthmus, because in an emergency, remember, speed is very important. So it is good to cut the isthmus and see the tracheal ring. Have I made you understand up till this point? It took a long time in making you understand this tracheal ring story.
So
Sir,
why not done in
why not
tracheal ring
T1?
1?
Why not T1? Very good. This is something that you should be saying to me from your knowledge in NT. Because what is the
Required.
thing?
Required stenosis.
Exactly. So if there is a tracheal ring, if you have made an injury to the tracheal ring 1, what is the structure that can be injured indirectly? Is the cricoid. And if the cricoid is injured, what is the damage that can happen to? What organ can be damaged? So the larynx can be damaged, right? So for these reasons, tracheostomy is never done into 1. Tracheostomies are always done regarding the tracheal ring 3 and 4. But again, people have done low, high, mid. We're not going to talk that. For all technical purposes, particularly in an emergency, this is what is done. Have I made you understand up till this point?
Yes, sir.
Good. So if you have kept your notes well, right? So these are the points to remember into this. Now, finally, let us now talk about the second point about what are the coverings of the thyroid. Coverings of thyroid. Now, the coverings of thyroid are usually asked as a part of Viva in an operative surgery. So if time does allow, we'll be talking about operations of the thyroid. Then we'll be talking about this one also. So let us talk about operative, and then we'll little bit of a few MCQs in this area. Now, what are the thyroid layers of concern? Now, if you consider the neck to be a structure like this, the goal is the neck. And if we consider that this is the cervical vertebrae, okay, I have not drawn a good picture. I know that foramen transversum and whatnot, right? And these are those muscles of the neck. Okay, I've forgotten their names also. I am not interested in names. My job is to make you understand this simply. The only important point is, what I understand is, there is a big muscle called as trapezius. TRP is the trapezius. Okay. So what happens is, if this is a cervical vertebrae CV And this is the muscle called trapezius. I'm not making an anatomically accurate diagram. What is important is there is a layer of fascia called as the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So I've mentioned it in black color. What is the layer? Investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, black color. Okay. Now, so what is the thing black thing doing? Let us have it in bold. Sir, it covers which muscle? The trapezius. Okay. And then what does it do? It comes forward. Okay. It comes forward. And then what it encounters is another muscle. Can you tell me which muscle will it encounter in this area?
Sternocleidomastoid.
Very good. So what it does is that
Sternocleidomastoid.
it also covers, see the black color please, it also covers another muscle called as sternocleidomastoid, not thyroid cell. Sternocleidomastoid, SCM, the main muscle in the neck. Okay. And finally it then goes anteriorly and joins on the opposite side. So this black layer, what is this layer called as? Investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Please remember this black color. I'm trying to draw a very simplistic picture so that you can draw in an exam. Now, similarly, I will take another color now. Similarly, the structure that is in front of, the structure that is in front of the vertebrae is a food pipe. So what is the structure that I'm trying to draw?
Esophagus.
Is the esophagus. Very good. Or if you go a little up, it will be the pharynx. So now tell me, little bit of knowledge in anatomy. What is this area called as in green? Very good. So this is called as the green color is thus the, what is this green color? The green color is thus called as the retropharyngeal space. I am not interested today to talk about in this area because this is not my concern, sir. My concern is to talk about another pipe in front of this. What is this pipe that I have been drawing? Looks like a triangle. Very good. Is the trachea. Please see that the tracheal cartilages are not complete. Bronchial cartilages are 360-degree. Tracheal cartilages are incomplete cartilages. We all know that. Again, an MCQ. So, tracheal cartilages are incomplete cartilages. Okay, why are they incomplete? Because they allow
the expansion of
the pharynx. Very good. So, tracheal cartilages are incomplete. Okay, right. And finally, then let us have the thyroid picture, sir. Okay. Let me draw the isthmus and the two lobes of thyroid. Okay, this is the isthmus of thyroid. This is one lobe. This is another lobe of thyroid, whatever lobe you call that to be. So let us again recap the diagram. Sir, what is the diagram? Okay, so let me have a little color in this area. Okay, so let me have it a little colored. Right, so let me shade this area for you so that you can remember. So this structure that I am shading, what is this gland that I am shading? What is this gland that I am shading? This is the thyroid gland. Okay, right. And thyroid gland is overlying as a shield with structure in blue. What is this structure in blue, sir? This is the trachea. Bah, very good. Now, if you have known this, I am so happy. Let me draw a big vein for you. Okay. Let me draw a big vein. Okay, you see, wow. A big vein. You say, arey, wow, beautiful. What is this vein?
Internal
jugular.
Jugular vein.
Very good. Oh my God, you know everything. So nice. If it is like this, now let me draw a big artery also. What is this artery, sir?
Carotid artery.
Wow, wow,
Common
wow,
carotid.
great. Okay, common carotid artery, internal carotid. Let me mark it as C. And then sandwiched between them, hidden by their view, there is one yellow putki. What is this structure, sir?
Vagus nerve.
Vagus
Is
nerve.
the trunk of the vagus nerve. Very good. Oh my God, you know so good anatomy. So this is the vagus nerve. Beautiful. I hope every one of you can draw this picture like this, because this comes in your ENT, comes in your Viva in operative, comes in your surgical cards, and now we talk about a few MCQs. Now see, from the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, God made two interesting covers. Cover number one, he made something which covers this part. So what is this structure that I'm trying to draw?
Carotid sheath.
Wow, great, perfect. So this is the carotid sheath. Beautiful. So what are the contents of the carotid sheath? I hope you can mention that, you know that. But there is another layer that I am more interested to draw today. What is that layer? I am interested to draw a layer that comes from the under surface of the sternocleidomastoid, takes into consideration the full thyroid gland, and this layer that I have drawn is called as the pretracheal layer of the which fascia, sir? Which fascia gives around this layer? Deep cervical fascia. Very good. So if it is deep cervical fascia, I am so happy. So now can you understand this picture? I started from scratch. Have I made you understand this picture? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good. So if you have understood this picture, I need to make a little change, sir. I am not good in anatomy, you see. So what I will do is that I will make this picture a little big. Okay. And what I will do is that I will like to draw a small couple of muscles also in this area. Okay. What are these muscles?
Strap muscles.
Wow. So these muscles are those trap muscles in the neck. So I will say that these muscles are strap muscles or the external muscles of the larynx. You say, Acha, yes, sir. What are the names of these strap muscles? Sternohyoid, sternothyroid, and those.
Thyroid.
Okay, so if you have forgotten, no problem, sir. I am least interested in that. But what I am more interested is, can you draw this picture in your exams like this? Can you take various colors and draw this picture? Have I made you understand this picture till now?
Yes, sir.
Good? Okay,
Yes, sir.
right. So if you have understood this picture, now my job becomes so easy. Worry, I have forgotten to draw the skin. I say, Arre Baba, so sir, really, sir, you have forgotten to draw the skin. So if you have forgotten to draw the skin, let me draw the skin in pink. You say, yes, sir, you have forgotten to draw the skin. Oh my God, you are so stupid. Now I have forgotten to draw the skin. Right. Now an interesting point. In between the skin and the investing layer, there is no fat, but there is a muscle that I am showing you in this dots. What is this muscle that I am
Platysma.
Very good.
Platysma.
So this is the platysma. Now I am writing is complete. Very good. So this is the platysma. It's a variable. If you want to take a screenshot, please be my guest. Take a screenshot now. So this is the coverings of the thyroid, because now we will be, as I have said, we will be escalating your knowledge from basics to more advanced. Have I made you understand up till this picture? Hello? Have I made you understand this picture?
Yes.
Yes,
Good.
স্যার প্রিটাকিয়াল লেয়ারের ভেতরে যে দুটো মাসেল হলো ওটার নাম কি ছিল স্যার? শুনতে পাইনি।
What is the name, sir? Strap muscles. Okay, like sternothyroid, sternothyroid. Okay, so those muscles. If you are not remembering those sternothyroid, forget that. Can you remember one name for me? What is the name that I require you to remember? Strap muscles, right? Okay, now tell me, when a surgeon wants to expose the thyroid gland, what are the layers that he is going to encounter to approach the thyroid? Let us come one by one. What is the, what is the first thing that he is cutting?
Skin.
Skin. What is the next thing that he is cutting? Platysma. What is the third thing that he is cutting? Which layer of the
Investing layer of the deep cervical
Investing layer.
fascia? And what is the fourth layer he is cutting? Pretracheal layer. So let us write this in your copies now. What are the 4 layers that are encountered to reach the thyroid? What are the 4 layers that you encounter to reach the thyroid? What is the first thing to remember? Skin. What is the next thing to remember? Platysma. What is the third thing to remember? What is the third thing? I forgot. What is the third thing? What is the third thing to cut?
Investing layer of deep cervical.
Investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Very good. And what is the fourth layer? I forgot. What is this? Pretracheal layer of the deep cervical fascia. Okay, right. Can you remember these two? What is absent in this structure? If you are wondering, what is the thing that sir has forgotten to draw in this picture? Where is the fat layer? Rest of the human body you get fat. What is the fat in this area? What is the fat? Come on, where is the fat? Well, that is the interesting point, sir, in the neck. In the neck, all the fat areas are below the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So please remember that below the skin, there is no subcutaneous fat in the neck, at least the anterior part of the neck, where there is platysma. So whatever fat you do encounter is in this space. Is the picture clear to everyone? Because now we will gradually increase your level to little more difficult terrains. Have I made you understand up till this picture, sir? Hello? Yes, sir. Good. If you have
Can you
understood
repeat
this,
the fat distribution in the neck?
right. Now see in this picture, in the rest of the human body, what happens? If you say, for example, in your hands and feet, okay, if you cut the skin, what is the thing that comes out after you cut the skin? After the skin is cut, what comes out is subcutaneous fat. But in the neck, after you cut the skin, what is the first thing that comes into your vision?
Platysma.
Is the platysma, at least in the anterior part of the neck. Remember, so please do not say that after I did cut the skin, I got a subcutaneous fat. No, sir, you get platysma. You do not get fat in this part of the neck above the level of the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, right? Okay. Have I made you understand till this point? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let us proceed into a little more advanced. Now, little more advanced means, let us now talk about something called as an interesting structure called as the ligament of Berry. Now, sorry, please see this picture very closely, what I am trying to draw. Please see this picture very closely, or what I should draw that, just a second. Right. Now, did you see what is the thing that I am trying to draw in this picture? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Now, this whole structure technically is a condensation. So if this is the structure that I have drawn, is a condensation of the pretracheal layer and is called as the ligament of Berry. Now, what is the importance of this ligament of Berry? What is the MCQ point? What is the important point? Ligament of Berry, understand that. We'll erase this hand, this gorilla-like hand is useless. Chalo. So, what is important is, let us talk about the ligament of Berry. 2 points to remember. What are the 2 points that the ligament of Berry is joining? What are the 2 things that the ligament of Berry joins? One is it joins the trachea to which surface of the thyroid? To the posteromedial
Medial.
lobe. MCQ number 1 done. Okay, very happy, sir. Point number 2, more advanced. MCQ 2. The ligament of Berry technically contains the recurrent laryngeal nerve in about 25% of the cases. So please remember, 25% of the cases, the recurrent laryngeal nerve goes through the ligament of Berry, which is a very dangerous anatomy. Okay. Now, in about 60% of the cases, recurrent laryngeal nerve is posterior to the ligament of Berry. And in the rest 15%, it is anterior to the ligament of Berry. If you are wondering why am I quoting you percentages to make you bored, I am not. You are asked a question, what is the most common relationship of the recurrent laryngeal nerve with the ligament of Berry? What is your answer for this? Anterior, posterior, through the ligament? None of the above. What is the answer for this?
Posterior.
Posterior. Very good. Please remember this data. I am not asking you to remember percentages. I am asking you to remember this part. Okay. Now, more advanced for honors getting students. Sometimes what happens is the thyroid lobe, and if this is the trachea, TR is the trachea. Please see the lobe of the thyroid. The thyroid lobe contains a tubercle of Zuckerkandl. Can you remember the name? Tubercle of Zuckerkandl. Tubercle of Zuckerkandl. Can you remember the name? Yes. Why am I interested? For one single simple reason. As I have said, the ligament of Berry is related to this tubercle. You say, Acha, very good, sir. But there is more important point. The more important point is the recurrent laryngeal nerve is always medial to the tubercle of Zuckerkandl. What is this yellow structure that I have drawn? What is recurrent laryngeal nerve? So if you are given an MCQ, tubercle of Zuckerkandl is related to finding which nerve in the neck or the thyroid. What is your answer? Recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay. tubercle of Zuckerkandl is a part of which gland? Is it part of which gland?
Thyroid.
It is a part of thyroid. Very good. And finally, so if you have remembered up till this, so this is what I require you to understand. These are very advanced learning, I know that. So let me repeat, what is tubercle of Zuckerkandl? On which part or which side of the thyroid gland you get a tubercle of Zuckerkandl? Isthmus
Posterior.
Exactly, very good. So you get it on posteromedial part of the thyroid. You get something called as tubercle of Zuckerkandl, right? Have I made you understand up till this point? Good.
Yes.
Good. Other things in ligament of Berry is that it assists in movement of the thyroid with deglutition. It assists in movement of the thyroid with deglutition. It assists in movement of the thyroid with deglutition. What are the causes the thyroid moves with deglutition will come later, not today. But please remember, it assists in movement of the thyroid in deglutition. This is a Viva question and an MCQ. Job done. Finally, for all very good students, what are the other things that you know in the thyroid that goes by the term Berry? Please remember that while we have our class, this is the first class. Always remember these are MCQ hot topics or name topics. You may say, okay, you may draw this smiley figure and write. Remember, what are the other things in Berry? What is the first thing that I taught you? Ligament of Berry. You say, very good. Okay. Any other Berry in thyroid? Yes, sir. Something called Berry sign. Which disease of thyroid gives a Berry sign? Is a multinodular goiter and a cancer thyroid. What is the structure? What is the structure that is involved in the Berry sign? Remember, is the carotid artery, right? So
Sir, Berry sign का एक बार बोल दें sir.
Okay, Berry sign is seen in which condition? It is seen in which condition? Is seen in multinodular goiter. Is seen in which other condition? Cancer of thyroid. Okay. What is this problem, sir? The problem is if you cannot palpate the carotid artery in a multinodular goiter and a cancer of the thyroid, that is called as a Berry sign. Okay. Have I made you understand up till this point? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
The last thing is,
what?
sir, what is the structure?
Carotid artery. Oh, sir.
Carotid artery. Okay. Right. Now another thing is
Sir?
Berry. Yes.
Sir, in all the histological variants
No.
of cancer thyroid, this can be seen.
No, sir. We are not talking details today.
Okay.
This is only for your notes.
Okay, sir.
We are not talking details, sir. We are talking only for your notes, as I have said. For MCQ high yield area, you can make a box that when I am reading this thing, if there is a Berry thing that comes in thyroid, what are the other berries? Okay. What is a Berry sign? We'll talk about that in clinical methods, not today, sir. Right? Now, what is a berry picking? Berry picking is refers to lymph node removal or technically isolated lymph node removal in a cancer thyroid. What is a berry picking? Berry picking is an isolated lymph node removal in a cancer thyroid. This should not be done. This should not be done. Have I written? Have I made you understand? What are these? The more you read, the more I will be teaching. You will see that what is berry picking, why this should not be done. We'll all again come back to that. So how many berries did you find? Ligament of berry, sign of berry, berry picking, which means it is like, say for example, now is the mango time. Okay. So if you are taking these mangoes one by one, that is a berry picking. So don't take them. You have to remove it en bloc, right? So it is ligament of berry, berry sign. Right? Have you completed up till this? Have you written up till this point?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Sir,
So after, yes, sir.
repeat করবেন?
Which one, sir? Berry picking.
না না স্যার টিউবারকুলার জুকার ক্যান্ডেল বাট একটু কানেকশন চলে গেছিল মিস করেছি।
Okay, sir. Tubercle of Zuckerkandal is a part from the posteromedial aspect of the thyroid gland. The recurrent laryngeal nerve is related medial to the tubercle of Zuckerkandal. Please see the picture. It is related medial to the tubercle of Zuckerkandal, and the ligament of berry is attached around this point. Okay, so this is posteromedial part of the thyroid, tubercle of Zuckerkandal. So if you have remembered up till this, recurrent laryngeal nerve, right? Good. I'm happy. We'll take a break very quickly. Don't worry. Now let us talk about the coverings of the thyroid. As we are talking about the coverings of the thyroid, the coverings of the thyroid, we have said all the layers and include all. Now talk about, so the thyroid is said to contain two layers. One are something called as false capsule. Anatomy people teach us this one. And false capsule is made by pretracheal fascia. I hope you will agree with me on this point. Where is that? This is the picture, sir. I hope you will agree with me. What is this layer? What is this layer that I'm shading now? This is the false capsule, pretracheal layer. Very good. Now let me mark it with a blue color, something called as the true capsule of the thyroid. The true capsule of the thyroid. What is the true capsule of the thyroid? What is the true capsule made by? The true capsule is made by connective tissue of the gland. CT is connective tissues of the gland. What is CT? Connective tissues of the gland. Right? Now tell me, where is the blood vessels of the thyroid? Where is the blood vessel? This is a very common question that anatomy people always asked us. Where do you get the blood vessels of the thyroid? Sir, the blood vessels of the thyroid are below the true capsules. The main blood vessels of the thyroid are below the true capsule. That means the main blood vessel of the thyroid is below the true capsule. This is the blood vessel. What happens in the prostate gland? What happens in the prostate gland? Very good. So in the prostate gland, the blood vessels lie between the true and the false capsule. So in a thyroid, you can very easily dissect between what planes to get an avascular operation?
So false capsule and true capsule.
Exactly. In a thyroid, God made this so beautifully so that you can dissect between the true capsule and the false capsule, and your operation is done in a bloodless way. So this is something again asked in a viva, not an MCQ. Which layer contains the blood vessel? Sir, the blood vessels are below the true capsule of the gland. Okay, so the plane between the true and the false capsule is a bloodless plane of dissection. Okay, good. Finally, before we take a break, let us talk about the arterial supply. Then after the break, we'll talk about venous drainage and the other parts of the story. So let us talk about the arterial supply. Now, when you talk about the arterial supply, remember that there are three arteries And definitely when you are talking artery, it is good also to talk about the venous drainage, because arteries and veins are exactly parallel. What I will like to draw is that I will like to draw the thyroid. And now please see, I draw very simple pictures, easy pictures, so that you can make those pictures in your exams. The first and the most largest artery that comes to the thyroid, I say, wow, big artery that comes to the thyroid is something called as the superior thyroid artery. What is the largest artery of the thyroid? Remember that again, two books have various opinions, but probably the more thing that will lies is superior thyroid artery. Where does the superior thyroid artery come from?
External carotid.
External
First branch of external
carotid
carotid artery.
artery. Wow, someone said that also. Very impressed. This is the first branch of the external carotid artery. This is the first branch of the external carotid artery, but also the only branch which goes downwards. So please remember that. The superior thyroid artery is the largest artery that supplies the thyroid gland. Kindly remember that. Okay. Now talk about the next one. If you consider the parallel story is the superior thyroid vein, which I will draw on this side, which drains into the internal jugular vein. The superior thyroid vein drains into the internal jugular vein. The superior thyroid vein drains into the internal jugular vein. So please remember that. And please see this picture. The superior thyroid artery and the superior thyroid vein looks like a newly married couple. They're exactly very close together. Okay, right. Now the next of the artery, please remember, is something called as the inferior thyroid artery. Now the inferior thyroid artery is not a big branch like the picture that I have drawn for the superior thyroid artery. So when I talk about inferior thyroid artery, remember the inferior thyroid artery comes from which artery? It comes from the thyrocervical trunk. Of which artery? Subclavian artery. First part, second part I have forgotten. Forget about first part and second part. MCQ point extremely important. It comes from the thyrocervical trunk of the subclavian artery. And then what happens, sir? It comes from this, and then remember it goes to the gland, and then, but before it goes to the gland, it gets a very important supply to the parathyroid. This is something that anatomist people do not teach. Kindly remember that. It gets into an extremely important, the only artery to supply the parathyroid. And thereafter, it goes and joins its friend. But while in the full process, please see what it is doing. Can you see what is being done in the picture? Hello, can you see this picture now? This is the inferior thyroid artery. Can you see that these chota nanna branches are called as capsular branches? Okay, so the inferior thyroid artery is not a big artery, it is a small artery, but is the only artery that supplies the parathyroid. The inferior thyroid veins, however, are looking like a divorced couple. So you say, oh my God. So they are not exactly a married couple. So the inferior thyroid vein, remember, comes from the isthmus. Inferior thyroid vein comes from the isthmus. And when they come from the isthmus, they join and drain into the brachiocephalic vein, also called as innominate vein. Can you remember this part? Hello, can you remember this
Yes,
part?
sir.
Good. So
Yes,
please
sir.
remember this one. I know that majority of you know this, but these small things, please remember, are extremely important, not only for an Viva, but more important maybe for an MCQ. This is one among the neglected areas from which lots of MCQs have come and they will come. Now, there is one bachelor vein, I call this as a bachelor vein, which comes from one lobe of the thyroid and drains into the internal jugular vein. That vein is called as the middle thyroid vein, MTV. What is the full form of middle thyroid vein? Please see that there is no corresponding artery to the middle thyroid vein. So I will again recapitulate what are the points to remember. How many arteries supply the thyroid? Number one, what is the largest artery that supplies the thyroid? What is the largest artery that supplies the thyroid? So the largest
Superior
artery is the
thyroid artery.
superior
Thyroid
thyroid.
artery.
What is the other artery that supplies the thyroid? Is inferior
Inferior
thyroid.
thyroid
Inferior
artery.
But what is the technical importance of inferior thyroid? It also supplies which gland? Parathyroid.
Parathyroid gland.
Parathyroid.
Very good.
Parathyroid.
Please remember that. And remember that is the only blood supply of the parathyroid. Okay, very good. Number two, we'll take a break in 1 minute. What is the venous drainage of the thyroid? Superior thyroid vein drains into which structure? Internal jugular. Middle thyroid vein drains into what structure? The internal jugular. And inferior thyroid vein drains into what structure? Inferior thyroid vein drains into what structure? Brachiocephalic vein. Okay, very good. Finally, ending comment, take a break. There are two rare blood supplies of the thyroid also. One is, again, this is for only MCQ students, is something called as arteria thyroidea ema. It is arteria thyroidea ema, which comes from the arch of the aorta. I have never seen this. Book says that it is seen in 3% of people. Okay. But what is important for gold medal questions and MCQ is when it obliterates, remember that when it obliterates, people say that it forms something called as levator glanduli thyroidea. What does it form? It forms something called as levator glanduli thyroidea. So if you want to forget this part, be my guest. Please forget this part. So this is a part on the artery. On the vein side, there is another MCQ point called as the fourth vein of Cocker. Okay. Now the K should be absent. Very sorry. The fourth vein of Cocker is a single vein which again drains into the brachiocephalic. Okay, sorry, it drains into the jugular vein, not brachiocephalic. Very sorry. What is important is where is the fourth vein of Cocker? My eraser is not there. KOCHER. Just a second, please. This comes as an MCQ, and hence the reason about giving you these notes. The fourth vein of Cocker is somewhat found between this area. Just a second. Where is the color, sir? Yes, this is the color. Right. So which structure is the fourth vein draining into? What does the fourth vein drain into? Hello?
Internal jugular vein.
Internal jugular vein. You have had an extensive class. I hope you have taken the notes well. This is from a summary about all the books that I have said. Whatever references you can have, this is the final material that will accumulate for all MCQ reasons, final MB, ENT, and surgery. Take a 5 to 10 minutes break. We come back now with the second part, that is nerves, lymph nodes, and operative part of the thyroid. Have I made you understand up till this point? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. So take a break now, and then we come back very quickly within 5 to 10 minutes.